The Season 3 beta is now here for Arena Breakout Infinite, and it could be titled as a bit of a controversial one. Now, I got my hands on with it yesterday, essentially just getting to play out all of the new stuff they've added in, weapons, new hideout stuff, and other bits and bobs, but there's also been some controversial adds as well. But I wanted to give you my points and breakdown on everything that's been added in so far, and then my opinion on some of this stuff, including some of the things that people aren't so happy about as well. But let's not beat around the bush and just get into the controversial stuff from the very beginning. Now, they decided to add in UAVs and heartbeat sensors. Now, I've been speaking to a lot of my community who played the mobile version of the game, and this has been in for a little while now, and the community didn't like it at all. That's why I'm really surprised that they decided to push it this early on in the PC version of the game. So obviously the mobile is so much further ahead, and they've had it not for very long themselves either, and people didn't like it on there. But after playing now and getting my hands on experience with it, I'm not as upset as I was previously when I first heard about this ad. Starting off with the UAV itself, I did get some hands-on experience with this. There was a really weird bug though in the beta where as soon as you used it, it essentially crashed the game for every single person in your lobby. So whenever your game crashed, you just knew that somebody just found one in raid and then used it and then just killed the game essentially. But what it essentially does is it's a one-time use that you find in raid, and then you get certain segments of the map that you can scan. You only get to scan one thing, you scan it, and then it will tell you whether there's any occupants inside. It doesn't tell you where they are inside, just tells you whether there are people there or they're not. So not as bad as I initially thought. But that ties directly into the other one-time use item that you can use, what is the heartbeat sensor. Now this also is a one-time use item as well. It has about a 15-second battery life before it goes from 100 all the way to 0, then it's useless and you might as well throw it away. But it also isn't as powerful as I thought it was also, because it has about a 35-meter range. And like I said, with the battery life coupled with it, doesn't give you a long time to use it. And instead of giving you exact pings on where somebody is, like a little dot, it sections off these blocks, and I'll make sure I throw something on the screen for you guys so you can see what I mean. And it kind of gives you a general direction where somebody is. But what I have noticed as well is that it does ping AI too. So when you're pinging someone, so it's in like a really built up area, for instance, I don't know, motel on farm, it will either ping players or AI. So it doesn't give you the 100% information that you need. So it's not as overpowered as I initially thought. Still pretty annoying that they added it in the game, but it's not as bad as I initially thought. But with that controversial subject over what people don't like, the rest of the changes that they have added in are really good. So you got to take that little bit of bad for some really good updates too. So going on to the hideout is actually now kind of officially in. We had like the first of it in the last bit with kind of the wall of displaying certain things and kind of showing off to your friends, but we actually now have something that's useful where you can actually make stuff and also get some kind of benefits. The first thing is the workbench, where you'll be able to craft ammunition. It looks like that you won't be able to craft red ammo. You'll be able to craft gold ammo at the highest level, level 4. And the way that you unlock these buffs, as well as the other ones that I'll mention in a second, you have to either find items in raid, buy them from the market. I wish they were kind of found in raid only and not bought from the market, because it adds a bit more of a challenge to it. But you also do have to do some form of challenge to go along with it as well, before you can then progress with the tier, use the items that you found, and then get to the next one to unlock the better benefit. You have this one for the workbench. There's also one, I think is the intelligence center, correct me if I'm wrong, what will allow you to be able to list more things, more items on the player controlled market. And then the last one is your ability to be able to decrease the rate of where you use energy and also hydration too. So essentially being able to stay in raid without having to worry about food and water. Not that this game really has that feature. In a game like Tarkov, you always seem to be worrying about food and water quite a lot and energy consumption. But in ABI, I very rarely run into situations where I've run out of hydration or food majority of the time, unless I'm just smashing painkillers back over and over again. But they're pretty good changes so far. Now moving on to the new weapons that they've added in. There hasn't been that many weapons been added, but the ones that they have added, I would say all 3 of these guns will be used and are useful. The first one being the AN-94, a highly requested weapon. The fire rate is quite slow. I think it's around 600 rounds per minute. It obviously fires the 5.45 ammunition, so pretty decent round in the game currently at the moment. But what it lacks in fire rate, it has in recoil control. It essentially has this muzzle attachment that you put on it, what makes the barrel kick back and essentially eliminates essentially all recoil from the gun. And every time you fire, it fires burst shots. Now, from what I've used so far, it was good. I did run into some instances of just smashing people in the head with good ammo and them not dying, but that's got nothing to do with the gun. That's just the hit registration in the game. So I'm just going to glass over that. The gun, from what I have used so far, is pretty good. The one gun they've added after that is the ZC807. This is the new 7.62 rifle, gonna competing with the AEK. Now, with the stats, I will say, when you mod this and mod the AEK, it says that the horizontal and vertical recoil is better on the new weapon, but I tested it side by side and it definitely isn't. It's got way more kick. I don't know whether the stats are just lying to me or something's going on in that area, and obviously it does have a slightly slower fire rate too, but it is cheaper. Currently on the beta, I can't really go off prices at the moment because the beta prices are always different normally to what the main game prices are, but from what I've used of the weapon so far, it is very good, and it will be like a more of a budget friendly version of the AEK, but better than what we have with the AKM currently at the moment. So I'm quite happy with this gun add too. And now probably for my personal favorite, just because I love 9x19 guns, we have the PB19 Vityaz. Well, it's not called that in the game, but it's what it's called in real life. Russian made 9x19 gun that is just lovely. 750 rounds per minute, not the fastest 9mm firing gun, but it's very customizable. Really expensive in the beta at the moment. Again, not sure if it's just beta prices and whether that will come down, but it does compete, I would say, with the MPX for the king of 9mm, I would say, because the recoil is really good once you modify it. And I haven't messed around with it too much with loads of budget mods on it, but I could imagine it's probably still going to be pretty good. And this is by far my favorite gun they've added so far. But they are the only free guns that have been added. Not that many, I would say. And now on to some of the last adds that they've done. So we have map change to farm again. It seems that every patch that we have at the moment, we have some kind of farm map change. So near the barn area of the map, when you get the farthest back spawn, there is a brand new building there. And then also where the other barn is, I don't know why that one's not called barn, because it essentially is like a barn. The one with the safe in it, not in the middle of the map is what I'm talking about. There's another building next to that that's been added in. And as far as I'm aware from what I've gone around farm, they are the only things that have currently been added in on that part of the map. But also on the maps, talking about the maps, they've been added these buying stations now where you'll be able to purchase things like more grenades. We always need more grenades as stimulants, and also things like smoke grenades. And I'm not sure, because I haven't used one yet. I don't know if you can buy ammunition from them, spare ammo throughout the raids as well, but it's essentially just being able to top up on equipment when you're mid-raid. What is a pretty cool addition. Haven't really messed around with it too much, but at the same time, like, do I really want to be able to buy more grenades? So I come in with 20, smash somebody, kill someone loads, and I buy another 20 grenades. But I guess you kind of got to have the money on you to be able to purchase them, so I don't know how often these will be used, but hey, it's a new ad and it's in the game. And then to go along, obviously, with new things added in, and actually this is actually the last stuff, the new stuff's been added in, is more items. We've got more reds, more golds, more purples, and more stuff, kind of filler things for you to find. I actually found one of the new reds already on TV station. Looks pretty cool, to be fair, but new items are always nice to have. And that's it for the new stuff that's been added in. There's loads of really awesome quality of life changes that I'll get into at the moment, but that is all we have currently for new stuff. So we have the controversial adds for the UAV and the heartbeat sensor, the hideout change, the 3 new guns, and then essentially the map changes with the new boxes that you can buy stuff from. That ain't a lot, but I've got a feeling, and this is tinfoil hat time, right? Tinfoil hat time, boys. I have a feeling that they are holding stuff back this patch, because it's rumored that we're getting the Steam release of the game, and I will say why I think we're getting the Steam release in a minute. Because we think we're getting that, and also as well, in the prior betas that I've played, we've always had access as well to the new season pass for us to play through to see the new skins that are going to be coming and that we're going to be able to get as well in the future. But that isn't in the game at the moment. That's not in the beta. We can't play that right now. And if they haven't added that in, then it's not starting to lead me to think that maybe they're not adding something else in. And because they're so, this is probably the smallest amount of guns I've added in one big patch, to say, because obviously this is like a free season 3 essentially, actual season 3, so they're like the points I've done before, and we're only getting that much. I personally think they have a map that is ready, because we've been told that they're making a PC only map that's not on the mobile version and won't be, and it's going to be PC only, and then they're working on that, and this is what we're going to be getting in the new season. They're just going to hold that to kind of build up hype, what I kind of like, because when I play the betas, because I always get into them, I kind of burn myself out a little bit on the new content. So when the new season drops, I'm like, this is not interesting for me because I've played it already. So it would be cool, like I said, tinfoil hat, that they just add that in, because I must admit, if this is the only stuff that is coming in the next season, I don't know how interested people will be going forward, other than some of the other changes that they have made that have severely changed the game and how it plays quite a bit, but we'll get into those in a second. But anyway, on to some of the quality of life changes, and some of these are quite big, so we'll stick to these. The titanium case is a brand new 3x3 case that's been added in. So, and this one is not purchasable in the store with real money. It's one that you grind for. So there is 60 quests that I have seen to be able to unlock this 60 season quest. So once you get to the end of it, you'll be given the case as a 3x3, and you keep it up until the end of the season. So the faster you get through it, the faster you get that case, and the faster the advantage you have, because essentially no new reds have been added in that take up more space, so that you'll still be able to take reds and extra stuff to go along with well, so you ain't got to dump your bullets like you did before. What is a seriously awesome change. And I think, like I said, this is the tinfoil hat thing again, when it comes to people, us potentially getting something more going forward. And sorry for the, no, my apologies. Actually, what I meant was for us coming to the Steam release, is because if they added this new case that you don't have to buy anymore, people are going to be less reluctant to want to buy the upgrades. And with now the upgrades that you can get in the Hideout, what increases the storage, the amount you can list on the market now, I think they're going to get rid of the 2x3 that you can purchase in the shop, and we won't get those anymore, and we'll just have this safe container and then have the regular ones before, or maybe even start off with a 2x4 or the 2x3 and then go to that one afterwards. Because the thing they were worried about going to Steam is the game getting review bombed for microtransactions, as you would say. But if they remove the safe container part of the microtransactions, and possibly even removing the purchase buying Conan, we don't know that yet, then the game would be perfectly ready to go on Steam, because it wouldn't really get that backlash that originally they're worried about in the first place. But yeah, pretty big change. I'm very happy for that. Sorry, I'm kind of rambling on this subject now, but I'll move on to the actual of the changes. So we've got the keychain has been updated. So now instead of having one large keychain, well, again, you could upgrade through purchasing with real money, you now have sectioned keychains for individual maps. So instead of having to kind of keep swapping keys around when you're going map to map, now you just have every key available for you in those specific slots for those maps. Great change. I love that. And on top of that, preset builds. So obviously we had presets for guns, but now we have preset builds. So they have their own ones, the recommended ones if you don't want to make your own. And then you have your own custom ones. Certain body armors, certain helmets, certain headphones, certain guns. You build it all up, save it, and then boom, one purchase, one button, you've got everything, you're ready to go to the next raid. So you haven't got to worry about waiting on your god-awful slow teammate who just sits there in the stash the whole time, organizing everything before he then starts to rebuild his kit to play the next goddamn game. Get ready faster. Don't be hanging around. Anyway, that is a really cool ad. We also have money stacked limit increase as well. So we haven't got the money boxes. That would be nice to have, but at least now we haven't got to store as much. I just use a rig and then just put my money in there. Money now stacks from 1 million to 5 million. So far less room than it takes up in your stash. What is a nice change? I haven't got to hold as much cash laying around, because I do have quite a bit of cash, and it's annoying having to keep storing all the places all the time. And then another,
Please! Jesus Christ.
awesome change that we've been asking for a while, and they said this is going to take a while for some reason for them to add, but now being able to spectate your teammates looting. So when you're dead and your teammates are looting things, you don't get this black fuzzy screen saying looting, looting. We can actually see what they're doing. What an ad. I mean, thank God they finally managed to get that in there, because that was a pain in the ass for us having to not worry about that before. But now on to some of the balance and changes that have been made, and there have been some good ones. Grenades have been changed. So I was saying about, I was moaning about grenades earlier, about to buy them in raid, but grenades have been changed again. So now all of the fuse timers on all the grenades have been extended. So now you can technically throw the grenades further, because they won't explode before they hit the ground with some of them now. But I've purposely done this, instead of removing cooking, now because they will have to potentially be cooked longer if people are going to throw them right before they explode, it gives you more of a heads up to react to it, essentially, that you know that they're going to throw it. So it's not like them holding it, cooking it, you get a ping for like 2 seconds, you're like, oh shit, they're throwing a grenade, and then it instantly goes off. Now you have like a bit more of a time to react to it. Obviously it doesn't matter if you're pinned into a room and they're just hurling grenades into it. That's your own fault for getting yourself stuck in a room, but that's just the way it goes for grenades. But that is a cool change. Another one as well, we have the hipfire bloom change. So instead, before with hipfire, you would be able to just point click and essentially the bullets all go in the same direction, same as like on Tarkov. I like that. Now we have like a bloom, so when you're shooting from hip, the bullets will just spray in kind of like in a tight knit kind of grouping, but in a random place, so they're all going in the same spot. I have tested this at super close range. It doesn't really matter. You can still hit fire and it's still pretty much going to go where you want it to go anyway, because like I said, when you hit firing, you're essentially guessing where the middle of the screen is anyway. So when you're like really close to people, you'll still be able to hit fire and hit them. It's just a little bit more random, but when it's from range, you won't be able to do that anymore. So you won't be able to like from 15, 20 meters out, hit fire somebody to death. You might, if you get incredibly lucky, but they're just rolling the dice on it. But yeah, so now, but I think you can negate that, I'm pretty sure, if you start using lasers. And I think that's maybe the reason why they did that, just so it makes people use lasers instead of not using lasers. But yeah, that has now officially been added in the game. But again, this kind of counteracts and added in the prior season when they did the dot thing to be on the screen permanently. So that the reason for that is so people could kind of hit fire, but you can't. So there's really no point having that dot thing on the screen anymore. And for those cheating people who've been having it on their bloody monitors for God knows how long, flicking on the dot in the middle of the screen, nah, it's not going to be useful anymore to you. So fuck you guys. Moving on to the last kind of things that we had. Now, this is something I wanted to carry over. This is not actually anything to do with the current season. This is an ad that's just been done in the main game. What I'm pretty sure is moving over to the final season is the changes to red ammo and level 6 body armor and helmets. They have been removed from the market for you to be able to purchase. Yes! Yes! They've added a new trader in, and this new trader sells the stuff, the level 6, the level red ammo, and also thermal scopes as well. Thermal abusers. Spit on you guys. Now you can't buy them. You have to buy them from this dealer, and they're on a reset. So I think thermals are like 72 hours. Some of the red ammo is on 24 hour, and then some of like I think the SJ ammo is on 48 hour, and then some of the level 6 armor and helmets and stuff are on 48 or 24 hour. I haven't got the exact listing. That is on their Discord page and Twitter if you want to look at it. Great change. I'm really happy about that, because it's just going to really balance the game up a little bit and not have to worry about wiggle ratting so much with snipers and things. And to be fair, the UAVs and the heartbeat sensors will help with that a lot with people who are sitting in corners with SVDs and red ammo all the time. So again, another reason why the UAVs and stuff aren't that bad. But yeah, that is the big stuff changes that are coming. And again, tinfoil hat, I think we've still got more stuff coming. They're just holding things back potentially for the Steam release. Fingers crossed. But if you have enjoyed this so far, please make sure that you like and subscribe. I will be streaming a lot of the new content over on my live stream here on YouTube, on Twitch, and on TikTok as well. So if you're on any of those platforms, you can watch me there. And I really hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. And I guess I'll catch you guys in the next video. Mwah, mwah. See you later, guys.